Hello, everyone.
People living in. Hello.
Hi.
I will let them in as they come.
Good morning or afternoon, depending on where y'all are at. I'm in Texas, so it's afternoon for me. I'm Jamie. Natalie and Ashley and Jess are all part of Creatively Disruptive, so we're going to be going over a lot of things in the webinar with y'all here. But first, just let me know how's everyone surviving the storm? How many people were affected by this storm?
Julie from Georgia, we were closed for 2 days.
Oh wow.
Oh no.
I didn't get it as bad in Texas.
It was funny because I had a dad who called on Monday because I managed the phones remotely. And he's like, it would have really been, so he's like, are you open? No, we're closed. It really would have been nice if you would have let us know. And I said, well, we sent an email last night. We posted on our social media feeds. And then he's like, oh, okay.
You're like, everything's short besides showing up on your doorstep. Yeah.
Speaking of posting
we're even
everywhere.
trying to get everybody to validate their texts, their phone numbers, so we can send them out.
Mm-hmm. Do you send like a mass message through your class management system? Is that what you do?
Yeah, we have, we can send them a mass email, and then we use Sports Engine for our class management software. And it has a social feed component as well. And then we post it to our social media, which also posts it. No, the social feed goes to our website, and then social media just to cover all bases.
Right. Okay.
Well,
Okay. Like I did everything short of sending a carrier pigeon.
Right.
And sorry that you were getting so many texts and email here. Our AI was apparently very excited about this webinar, and wanted to show you its excitement here. Went a little rogue there, but hey, at least it was excited about it. So tell me, how do y'all feel that 2025 went for y'all? Say on a scale of 1 to 10. You can throw them in the chat or tell us live.
Yeah,
how did it go for y'all?
Stacy's looking a little unsure.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff going on around me right now.
Sorry.
No, we've got practice going on right now.
You're totally fine.
I was like, I want to be where Stacy is. Look at that beach.
I know,
I would like to be on the beach also, but no, I'm in the gym and I'm surrounded by kids and coaches right now.
I love it.
Anybody else? Did anybody else have a 10 out of for 20?
Ours wasn't bad. Ours wasn't bad. We had a pretty good year.
Awesome.
Good.
Yeah. Ours was decent.
Awesome.
Ours was a 5, but I talked about this, I think, on one of our other webinars.
Yeah, I recognize Julie. She's been here before.
Yes.
So we just had some unusual challenges to overcome. So we're trying to get back on track and, really trying to work on honing in our word of mouth because of the difficulties we faced last year. Social media is challenging for us. In fact, I had I just want to say in this group that I cannot stand people that post anonymously. So we had somebody that responded to one of our posts anonymously, telling everybody you need to make sure that you research your gym and you need to be careful because this gym went through trouble last year and blah, blah, blah. So, so I'm just always looking. I've decided that I want to really dive into all the resources that are out there so that we can have a good, strong plan for 2026. We're actually pulling together our themes for our summer camps, and our goal is to get camps online by the end of the week. I feel like we're right on the cusp, almost being a little late, but we do see that people are starting to ask about that now. So
yeah, it gets earlier and earlier every year, I swear.
Yeah.
It used to be spring break is when they would start looking, and now it's like you said, you're back from Christmas and boom, they want to know.
Oh,
It's because they just went through Christmas break and they can't handle the thought of another one. Break with their kids. That would be me.
And now with this snowstorm, they're really going to be like, oh dear Lord, I need to get them in something.
I kid you not. We finished Christmas break and I looked at my husband. I said, I am paying for summer camp. I don't care how much it is. My kids are not staying home with me.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we can go ahead and get started here, Natalie's going to talk about some stuff. Ashley is going to go over our 12Q that we use for our clients and show y'all how that is done, how we utilize that. Jess is going to go over a little bit about doing meta ads and let someone else in here. And then Natalie's going to go over some stuff about Google ads. So Natalie, you want to start us off here?
Yep, let's do it, guys. All right, Jamie, I'm sending you requests for sharing. I made you the host because I'm going to be
I
sharing my
figured that out
screen.
when someone popped in the waiting room there. I was like, what?
Surprise!
Right.
Okay, let me go ahead and share this. We can get started. All right. Let me go ahead and open this up. Okay. So we put together this, we've had the entire team put together this massive guide for you guys. This is super in depth. It literally, as Jamie was saying, goes through like our overall strategy for everything, how we goal plan, how we set up our Facebook ads for our clients, how we set up Google ads, creative and copy examples, like everything you can think of from A to Z, for basically everything marketing for Gymnastics Club. So it's going to be really great. So we'll go ahead and dive in here.
Before you dive in, I just wanted to say, if you have questions as Natalie's going along, throw them in the chat. So we can either answer them as she's going along, or at the end, we'll have some Q&A time and we'll make sure we go over those. Just so if you're anything like me, you might forget by the time we get to that, but feel free to pop them in the chat.
And by the way, you will get a replay and this exact link to this guide right after the webinar, like same day today. We'll send that out to you guys so you can have a copy of it. There's going to be some content in here like creative and copy examples that we may not get to, but this is still really good info, so you will get a copy of that. Okay, but basically this was put together. We've had a lot of gyms that we work with initially come with us that have all of these main problems where we're either not getting a consistent flow of new parent inquiries. They're competing with a lot of other sports. If you're relying still on word of mouth and kind of waiting for that to kick in, or we've also had a lot of gyms that are kind of constantly trying to come up with new promos, new camps, new events to get people in to supplement that inconsistent parent inquiries and enrollments every month. So this is going to be just a really good plan that we already use for our clients, exactly what we use for our clients actually, of how we generate the consistent enrollments every month. So before we get into all of the content, we want to first start with the foundation that makes all of this work and is going to be your baseline for everything, which is going to be our 12Q planner. But that's getting real clarity on where you're headed and what it actually takes to get there.
Yeah.
Understanding your numbers and knowing exactly where you need to be, how
Listen to a webinar.
how much you need to spend in order to achieve those. And then everything will obviously start becoming a lot less overwhelming when you feel like you're guessing, you're not really sure what your numbers are, or they fluctuate a ton, and starts feeling intentional. So we are going to have Ashley walk you through exactly how we map these out for clients. Jess, if you want to send that link in the chat too, we're going to send you
It's in there for everybody.
Oh, amazing. Jess just dropped in that link, and this is going to be a copy of the 12Q planner that we use. It's going to look something like this. There's going to be like 4 different tabs on there, but we are now going to kind of walk you through just for the next 10 minutes exactly how to fill this out. And this is something really good you can do with your team, especially with it being January at the beginning of the year still, just to really give you some clarity for the year. So Ash, let me know if you want to screen share or.
Yeah, that's okay, because then I can control it. That'd be great.
Perfect.
Give me access. Okay. All right. Thank you, Natalie. All right. Yeah. Awesome. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. I have this open right here. This is what it looks like. So when you first become a client, this is one of the first things that we do. It generally just gives us a roadmap of where you want to go financially with your business. I mean, the goal of our goal really is to provide you as a business owner with like a real meaningful financial reason for having the business. Like there are a lot of owners that we come in contact with and that we work with that do it for the love of gymnastics or dance or, you know, whatever kids activity center that they're running. This is an effort to, if you're going to do advertising, you should really have like, you should really be strategic about why you're doing it essentially. And so that's what we try to get clear on your goals in the beginning. That's not to say that throughout the course of your relationship with us, like this might change. You might say like, you know, oh man, like my kitchen flooded and now I have to do a kitchen remodel. And so let's go back to that 12Q and let's, you know, let's add some things so that I can get to a certain profit margin this year. Like that's always a possibility. So it's not a bottom drawer document. We always talk about it as more being like a top shelf document that we're constantly referring to as you go through your relationship with us. You know, quarterly we look at it and we like to evaluate where we are and reaching your goals. So generally that's what this is. Now where you start when you start working on this is you start in dreamscaping. Now dreamscaping is essentially what this is going to do is it's going to calculate how much profit you want to make after 3 years of following this plan. So after advertising for 3 years, having, you know, calculating how much ad spend you need to reach your goals and spending that ad spend, it's gonna give you a certain amount of profit as your goal at the end of 3 years. And so this is where you can kind of dream up whatever it is that you need or your family needs, and you want to use that profit for. So the reason we do this is we like to have something tangible that you are striving for. Like it's one thing to say like I want $1 million. Well, you know, you may or may not get there, but if you have something real in mind, like, you know, I really want a Ferrari or something. It doesn't even have to be something excessive like that. It could be something smaller. My family wants to go to Disneyland, you know. So we work with you on this to try to get you to come up with these like concrete things that you want to use your profit on. And again, like I said, this can change too. This is flexible. Does anybody have any questions up until this point? Okay, great. So we go to, oh,
sorry, something I'll note in here too is I think another reason for this is to make sure that like a lot of business owners that we have worked with start because they do love it and then they get burnt out because they end up working for the business instead of the business is working for them. And so this is just a really good way, as Ashley is saying, to just make sure that you are still like with the profits and revenue of the business, it is still you know, like benefiting you and your life, and it's not becoming a source of now you're just solely working for the business type of thing.
Yeah. And so we work with you to get your goals and your dreams. And then we go here into, this is like a calculator. So everything in yellow is the data that you would need to tell us. Essentially, you know, some of these are just kind of an average that we see in the industry. So like $25 per cost, that's actually our internal KPI for a lead. So one lead, you pay $25. Now with that one lead though, the benefit of, you know, doing this plan and everything is that you get to see that paying $25 for a lead may lead to $60,000 in revenue if that client stays with you for a long period of time. And 60 is really high, but actually if you had 5 new enrollments per month over a period of 12 months and you were charging maybe roughly like $100 to $150 a month, you could add that to your bottom line by just adding. So it's kind of like, it's interesting when people actually see that like there's not, you know, you don't need to add like 30 or 40 kids a month to make a difference to your bottom line financially. And that's the reason for that is the lifetime customer value. So they're not just, you know, buying a product, as you know, and then you get that $40 and then they're gone. They're a customer for a period of time. So if you can actually extend that customer, that lifetime customer value out, I mean, typically we see 12 to 18 months that the kids stay enrolled. If you can extend that to 24 months, then even just doing that, you're increasing your revenue. So we work with you on all those. There's all these kind of levers in your business, as you know, probably, that you can pull to kind of increase your revenue. So this is designed to kind of unpack that. So all the cells in yellow are the ones that we ask from you, and then all the ones in blue are automatically calculated. So, we'd ask you like, how many students do you currently have enrolled? And then it would calculate based on your revenue goal, and how much you charge, it'll calculate how much you charge from how many students and your revenue. So it'll just divide it by the number of students. So it's not exact, because you may get revenue from, I don't know, like team uniforms or something, or you sell sodas at the front desk. This is just going to divide it by the number of students, but it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. And then it's going to tell you like what you need, how much money you'd actually need in total to achieve the goal. This is what I'm talking about here, is the data that's really like, this is a key data point that I always try to encourage my clients to, if they don't already have a sense of it, to make sure that they know how to pull a report essentially from their class management system that tells them how long a student stays enrolled on average. Just because that is a really good number to be able to, manipulate and to see. Because if you do have a really high turnover, you might want to investigate some things so that you can improve that, because that really does make a difference. Especially if you're advertising, because if you're paying $25 per lead and that child is only enrolled for 2 months, there's a big difference between that and paying $25 for a lead and that child stays for 18 months. So that's a number that you want to keep an eye on. And then this goes into quarter-on-quarter growth. So every quarter you're going to want to grow, by this amount of revenue. And then it actually breaks it down even further into like the student enrollment goal per quarter. And obviously this will change depending on the data. It doesn't have any data in it, so it's not going to show. But it'll tell you like each quarter what is going to be your student enrollment goal. Now, the cool thing about that is we all know that it's not a straight line, right? And you don't have the same enrollment each month. Like that just doesn't happen in this niche, So there is a part, and I can show you on the planning grid, to account for seasonality as well.
Sorry.
And then this is another one of those kind of levers that I was talking about that you can pull in your business, which is essentially it's the conversion rate. How many out of 10, like, if you have 10 leads, how many of them convert? Well, the thing about this is this greatly changes your advertising spend, right? Because if you convert, 8 out of 10, you have to spend drastically less to reach your enrollment goal than if you only convert 4 out of 10, right? The ratio of leads that you need to get that enrollment goal is a lot higher. So we try to work with you on this as well. And we will do things like help you, Natalie's the strategist. So Natalie will, write a sales script that your front desk can use. And like, so even though it's not in our control, we try to provide you with the tools to actually make these changes in your business. Because like I said, we're all driving toward the ultimate goal, which is reaching your enrollment goal, which essentially means reaching your revenue goal.
Right.
Does anybody have questions up until this point at all?
I think also just noting that this is a really good, if you don't already understand kind of what your numbers are that of this that Ashley is going through, like out of how many parents that contact you, how many of those do you end up converting? How many of those do you get booked into trials? And how many from there do you then convert into enrollments? Like this is essentially just going to be a big picture for you to see, where is my current bottleneck? Like where do I need to be focusing on? And where is my team not currently tracking, or is it student retention? Like Ashley was saying, is everything else looking good, but what's pulling me down is student retention? Is my conversion rate lower than it needs to be? Are we not really converting as many parents that call in for phone calls? Like, are we not able to get them in for trials? And maybe we're getting a lot trials in, but those people aren't converting to enrollments. But this is going to give you that big big picture roadmap that's like, oh, okay, here's my bottleneck right now, and here's where I need to focus on, and this is going to be the lever I need to pull that is going to make everything, improve everything else.
Yeah, thank you, Natalie. So when we come down to the bottom segment, we actually get down to how many net new enrollments each month. Now, again, like there's an element of seasonality. Like we all know, like, you know, tons of kids leave in the summer. You may not get a bunch of new enrollments in the summer, but hopefully you're running summer camp. So, you know, then you have those as new enrollments. But this is to give you a general idea, like, you know, I want to at least reach 5 or 7 or 10 or 13 every month in order to eventually reach that goal. And then it also calculates, you know, like Natalie and I were saying, based on your conversion rate, how many leads do you need? So how many do you actually have to pay for? And you can see, like, you may not even think about this stuff until you start advertising. But once you start advertising, we, as your marketing agency, really want you to think about this, because it means that you're going to make smarter decisions with the money that you have to spend on advertising, you know, and we definitely don't want you to waste money on the platforms. So if we know your conversion rate, we can actually calculate, like, hey, based on, you know, historical conversion, you need this many leads because you convert 40% or 50%, right, to reach your goal. All right, so this is a calculator portion. And essentially when you're working with us, we work on like 2 main metrics, which are, you know, the number of enrollments you need each month. So each month your account manager is talking to you, like, you know, how many new enrollments did you get this month? How does it match up with what we want in the 12Q? And then if it's not hitting the KPI, if it's not hitting target, then that's when you have a whole team that's going to look at that from a strategical perspective and say, like, you know, what can we do here? Because, and like Natalie was saying, diving into the portion of the process that is blocking it, that is not working. And whether that's on your side or it's on our side. So sometimes it's with the ads. You're actually not having enough people click through. But sometimes it's a conversion issue on your side. And even if it's on your side, we still try to help you. All right. So the other part of this is, and just let me know for time, Natalie, if you need me to like speed up a little bit.
You're good. We have like 2 minutes left on this portion, then we'll move forward.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll go fast on this then. This is what we call like the actual 3-year planning grid. So you can see it's very clear, like what you made. Like, so when you come to us, we're going to be like, what did you make last year? And what was your profit margin? What do you want to make? And then we always like to get this is actually low. Like we always like to get people up to like a 20% profit margin. Now there's a variety of ways you can do that. You know, you can cut costs, or you can increase prices. There's basically 2 ways, but we like to get you up to about 20%. And then this is what I was talking about here, which is like projected revenue, but it's seasonality. So essentially we would go through with you and figure out like, what is your seasonality look like in terms of revenue? How much money do you make each quarter? And then we put that here so that we have like a more reasonable, realistic goal as opposed to it just being a straight line.
Right.
And then one more thing on this sheet. Now this is more for you, like the business owner, because we don't really have information on this, but this tracks like when you come to us, what does it look like? What is the situation in your gym for customer acquisition? What is the situation for student retention and all the way down the line? And then what are again, it's going back to those levers that we can pull. What can we do to these specific terms here, or these specific things that are in your business? What can we do to these in quarter 4 to increase revenue? What changes can we make? So maybe you come to us and you have no way of acquiring customers because you're not running any digital advertising. But now in quarter 4, you are running Facebook, Google, and you're doing social media. So this is another way of you just kind of being able to think about like, what things could I change? Like maybe I can't change anything about my teams or like how my organization operates. Maybe I can't do that, but maybe some of the other ones I can. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. Does anyone have questions on the 12Q before we move on to Facebook? I know that's a lot of information to unpack, but you'll also get a recording of this, and then you also have a copy of that spreadsheet. I highly recommend you go through with your team and do what Ashley is talking about, just to even get a better clarity on what your numbers actually are, or if you've never gone through and mapped out your numbers, just have your team go through and actually like get something down on the spreadsheet so you can just really understand like what your, at least to point out your bottlenecks of what those currently are, and you can maybe start fixing something here, and just putting a focus to each month and each quarter. Awesome. All right, well, let me go ahead and reshare my screen again. Thank you, Ashley. That was
Oh
awesome.
yeah, no problem.
Let's go here. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the paid advertising portion. Now, this is going to be going through Facebook, Google, kind of explaining our strategy and why we do it and why it works. So typically, exactly why we do this, kind of what I covered in the beginning, is going to be so you don't have to rely on all of those obviously summer camp is different, but rely on so many different ways to bring in new enrollments versus just having one consistent stream. Again, like relying on walk-ins or word of mouth, or coming up with new camps, events, anything like that. So basically why paid ads are essential is you're going to be seen daily. You're going to reach new parents where they scroll and search. The updated data show that the average parent spends 3+ hours a day on social media. And this is just going to be showing up where parents already are and spend their time. I do have the data for this other statistic, but roughly if you only are focusing on, or like let's say you do Google and you're kind of just relying on people who are only searching in Google to find you, that's only going to be about 30% of the audience that you can hit is parents who are already like, okay, yeah, I'm searching for gymnastics. I'm ready to enroll gymnastics near me. The major majority percentage of the people who you could get to enroll are going to be people who are not already searching it. It's going to be a parent that you show up for on Facebook who maybe is starting to think of maybe something they want their kid to do, but they don't really know yet. So that's going to be a huge lever to pull. And then just controlling your growth. Again, once you have your numbers mapped out and you know, hey, I know through Facebook and Google, I'm going to be getting like 30, 40 leads a month. And I know out of that many, I convert, like 20 to 25% of them. I know for a fact, like I can pull that lever, and I can add in more money or reduce it if I know exactly what those are. Which leads me into our amplify method. So this is the method that we use. It's basically just be seen everywhere and make it easy for parents to connect. So some of the main principles are here is, again, show up where parents actually are online. Not just the parents who are ready to enroll searching on Google, but show up where they are. Make connecting easy. Allow calls, texts, messages, visits, or clicks. Like you'll notice a lot more people are using Messenger, messaging you on Facebook, DMing you on Instagram. Most people have like chatbots now on websites, but we're seeing a lot of shift go away from and just a lot less traffic, usually from phone calls, and a lot through messaging and lead forms and contact forms, a lot more online. And then just getting steady inquiries and enrollments, you're going to get consistent results. So this is just a breakdown of exactly showing why we recommend having multiple forms of contact. So for example, on your website, having a contact form. When you run ads, you usually typically use like a lead form, but we also have the phone number and the address in the ad for them to fill out. But here it'll kind of show you just the different people and that you'll always get somebody different. So, for example, Bob wants to call, hates contact forms with a passion. Anne, texter, works during the day, can't be on the phone. We found that usually a lot more parents are falling in this Anne bubble right here, which is texting. Texting is becoming a big, I wouldn't say new, but it's definitely getting increased that parents want to communicate this way. And then Sue here wants to stop by in person, check things out, and get more information. So we're just making sure, and this is mainly for if you do set up paid ads, making sure you have this information in your ad, and we'll show you what that looks like, but also on your website. Like on your website, you need to make sure you have, that phone number, your address, like that should be in your top header of your homepage. And by top header, I mean the page that you're going to see. No matter what page you click on, that's going to be at the top. You always want to make sure people can find that information. Why run Facebook and Instagram ads? Here are just like some common objections or like feedback or Q&A that we get on this, which is I boost posts. Why do I need ads? You control not only who you target, but how you target them. So on Facebook ads, you can do traffic to your site, lead generation with the lead form, conversion on the site for enrollment. You get a little bit more flexibility with how you're targeting them and then finding what works best and just amplifying it from there. It's not just kind of a one size fits all. You're optimizing for actual leads. So calls, form clicks, clicks to book trials, not just traffic. And then track your return and adjust what's working. So you're going to be able to set up actually detailed tracking on Facebook ads. This is usually obviously a big deal for most people is sometimes they will boost posts or they'll be consistently posting on social, but they'll be like, I can't really track exactly or know how effectively it's working. So I'm not 100% sure. But on Facebook and Instagram ads, you will be able to track exactly, like here's exactly the actions and events that people took on my website. This is how many people enrolled for my website, how many people filled out the lead form. So it's just going to give you a lot more concrete metrics that will help you like keep that understanding on what your numbers are. And then my competitors aren't running ads. Why should I? This is another great one that we get asked a lot. And essentially, that is the best time to run them is so you can get maximum visibility while they are not being shown. I mean, it's not really a trick question. It's just if they're not running ads, like that's awesome. Most people are on the opposite end of that and they're full of competitors. Their competitors are running ads. So that's a great one. So yeah, owning the space before they run ads as well. Everything's definitely shifting to that. So it's great to get a head start. I'm the only gymnastics gym in town. Do I even need ads? Yes, because you're not just competing with other gyms. You are competing for attention as a whole. So like I said, you got a lot of people competing with other sports programs. You're not like, it's important that you don't just look at, well, I'm the only gym in town, but all these other parents that are looking for activities are going to be also searching for, sports programs, anything in season, soccer, basketball, anything like that. You want to make sure you can get ahead of those parents in your area and get in front of them and showcase your programs and your offerings, because a lot of those parents might be like maybe looking into a different sport and then they're going to see your ad and be like, oh, this would be awesome. It's next to me. Like, let's try this out. They got a free trial. Boom, boom. So it's just important that you don't tunnel vision and you're not just competing with yourself or other gymnastics gyms. All right, Jess, I'll have you do the Facebook portion here.
Mm-hmm.
So let me go ahead and stop sharing. And just a note on these, Jess is going to walk through the Facebook setup portion of this. This is what we get asked the most questions on. In the presentation, there is going to be so much good content around creative examples and like, what do I even put in my ad? What do I say in my ad? We've got a ton of that in there that's going to be super helpful. But the most questions we get is, how do I set this thing up? Like, how does this even work? How do I set it up? What are the basics? So Jess, I'm going to let you actually show that And yeah,
How many people have ventured into Ads Manager?
or Facebook ads.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. I'll start from square one.
Okay, Julie.
Perfect. Julie has. So there's a difference between Meta Business Suite and just putting an ad together there, similar to like a boosted post, and then the actual Ads Manager platform. What I'm going to show you guys is the Ads Manager platform itself.
Awesome.
Okay. Can you guys all see this okay? Nods? Great. Wonderful.
Yes, perfect.
I see only half I only see like 4 people on the screen when I'm sharing my screen. So if you have a question, either put in the chat or yell stop and ask it. I'll stop and answer the question. But this is Ads Manager itself. There is 3 different tabs you'll get in the view itself. I'll try to walk through it simply for all of them. And I've already drafted like a setup for you guys that I want to just walk you through our best performing campaign, what we typically set up for clients when they come on board for us. It's one of the very first ones we do. It's just a straight conversion to your website. There are a couple things we look at before we decide to do that type of campaign. Mainly, do you have a contact form? And then if you have a hook, is that mentioned on your site? And is there a way for somebody to sign up for said hook? So for example, if you have a free trial class, there's a document you would fill out with us. We call it our business intelligence. It gives our team insight into what you're all about. And in that is a question about what's your hook. If you say you have a free trial, but there's nowhere on the site, we'll either ask you to do it or we won't run it to the site, because I don't want us to offer something on your ads and there's no way for them to sign up. You actually won't get any conversions that way. But when you create, there are 6 different campaign options when choosing any type of advertising on, I'm going to say Meta, because I've been here since it was Facebook, so I might get tongue twisted a little bit, and then they changed their name to Meta. This includes both Facebook and Instagram platforms, as well as Threads. If any of you guys are on Threads, you can market through here on that as well. Fortunately, TikTok is its own thing, but it actually, if you do end up wanting to do a TikTok thing, it's a pretty similar setup to this. But the main ones for conversion based, and when I say conversions, leads, is the lead campaign. And you can see where it says good for you with your website and instant forms, messenger campaigns. So when Natalie was talking about parents texting, it's not just cell phone texting either. It's Instagram direct messages and Facebook Messenger, where you could potentially get more inquiries from parents there as well. And then phone calls too. You can create this objective. Now, the key part of this is whatever one of these you pick. So if you pick leads, the algorithm of Facebook or Meta is going to deliver this ad to those people who are most likely to do the action you're looking for. So if it's to go to your website and convert in some way, it's only going to send that ad to those who are, their behavior on the platform is that they do that thing. If I were to send it to an awareness campaign, which is brand building, I'm just trying to get likes on the post itself, or maybe go to your Facebook page or your Instagram page and build up your following there, and that's your objective, that's what Facebook's going to send it to. It's different audiences depending on what objective you choose. So it's very important you pick the right one. Okay. Any questions on that? Nope. Okay, cool. With the leads, let me come into this one that I've drafted. From here, one of the very first things you'll do is set up your budget. This falls back on that 12Q that Ashley walked us through. Whatever that monthly budget ends up being based off your goals and how much revenue and your conversion rate, that's what you put as a daily spend. The 12Q will give it to you in monthly, and you just divide that by 30, and it gives you the daily spend on average you should be doing. But keep in mind that you should be thinking about splitting that between Facebook and Google. So if your allotted spend for the day is $40, you might want to think about starting 50-50 and doing 20 on Meta and 20 on Google. But that budget we get from our clients all falls back on that 12Q. Everything else on here is not something I would need a whole nother hour-long call to go through some of these things on Meta. So A/B testing, I'm not sure how familiar some of you are on here, but you can do some type of test if you're wanting to figure out which ad creative performs the best. Facebook's provided you a way to do that where the system does it for you, basically. We don't set that up for our clients. We have a manual. I'm a little OCD and controlling when it comes to testing, so there's a certain way that I have my team do it for our clients. And then special categories, just to brief, is if you're running an ad that involves any of these four, you have to pick this. The most we do for clients is when it's employment. So if you need to hire somebody, you could do a job ad on Meta. You just have to click that it's an employment ad. Otherwise, you will not be approved to run it. And then there might be causing some restrictions on your ad account. I need a whole nother webinar to go through how to do that, Natalie, if anyone's ever interested in that. The next part is your ad set. This is the audience. Now, you pick specifically in your conversion objective campaign where you're wanting to send people here. So in this example, I've picked website. 9 times out of 10, we will send ads to a client's website and help them optimize it based on what they're trying to achieve. If their website is not suitable, we fall on an instant form, which is those ads where you click and a form pops up. We set those up for clients that way. Both are great. And then with the instant forms, there is, like, we'd set up a spreadsheet for you. So I would recommend setting up some kind of spreadsheet where all the leads can go through, and we use Zapier to set those up and automatically put them onto the spreadsheet, like a Google spreadsheet. And then you can do a 5-day sales process follow-up. Again, Natalie, we need another meeting for that. But if you're going to do instant forms, there's that way. And then, have any of you ever gone into Meta Business Suite and the lead center that is within that? And I can't see everyone, so.
And basically that's if you're running a lead form, it'll be, I'm sure most of you have seen it, but it'll say, like, seen an ad that says sign up, and then it'll just automatically add in their information and they can just submit it all within Facebook platform, which is obviously really easy and works well. And then what she's talking about is where you'll be able to see all of those lead submissions from those.
So
we have a question real quick. Can I ask you that?
Yes.
Okay. Someone wanted to know, do you have a feeling for which platform is the most popular among young parents?
I see. Is it asking about Meta, like Facebook and Instagram together, or Google?
Probably all of them.
Anyone. It's like what's
Okay.
Yeah. So
Instagram?
yeah, what do they most use?
Okay. Instagram would be my top choice when it comes to the younger generation.
Okay.
But the algorithm, like, so Facebook, if you're not already aware, Meta is pretty much all AI at this point.
Okay.
And when I get down to when it's talking about your audience, one of the key things that they've changed is they added in the word suggestion. I can guide the AI to where I want it to be. It's not 100% going to be targeting the people I want anymore. I don't have the control I used to 2-3 years ago. So with that though, if I'm targeting and I put in that I want to target, where did I put it? Right in here. 25 to 35, let's say, that younger age group for people that typically have kids in that younger, like, say you're wanting to fill up your preschool program. I have a spreadsheet for that too, by the way. I'll get to that in a second. Facebook's algorithm and AI will feed your ad to the platform you're going to get the most responses on. Typically that's Instagram.
Okay.
Or TikTok. But again, like, if you're not on TikTok, I mean, TikTok is it's different than it was again when they first started. When they first started, you have to have like $50 a day to advertise. It's not the case anymore.
Okay.
So TikTok and Instagram are those two platforms younger parents I would suggest you looking at for that.
And just regarding the forms, if you're taking data from prospects on your website, what are the like legal requirements,
right
around that?
So typically you can't ask for age
Okay.
on an instant form, and you can't ask for gender.
Okay.
But you could ask the questions I fall on, you just can't ask them in the form. So what we do for the clients is we do their name, their phone number, their email, and then what class or program they're interested in. Because we create what's called an evergreen ad, which is a carousel of sorts or a video that showcases all the programs you offer, or at least what you want, the top 3 priority programs you're wanting to advertise and put ad spend behind.
Okay.
And within the form, I can list off preschool gymnastics. Let's say you have Sugar Peas program. I just had a client talk about that, and then Ninja Zone, and then like swimming, for example. I can list those all as an option, and then from there, when you follow up with the lead, you can then ask the question, how old is your child? Do they have that experience or not? You don't want to ask a lot of questions in the form. You want to make it as simple as possible to get them to submit it.
Okay.
And then you can follow up with clarifying questions.
Okay.
We do have a couple other questions. Would you rather finish what
No,
you
that's fine. I'd rather answer questions.
Okay.
Because anything I don't get to cover, it will be set in the follow-up email too. So I'd rather take the time to answer questions.
Okay. Natalie just responded to one. Natalie, do you want me?
No, I just wanted to cover, and Jess, you can add anything you want to this, but we had a question that said, in Meta, if you send the leads to the website, how do you know if they convert? If you do a form and contact them, then you know if they sign up, but if they just click the website, how do you track conversion? I just laid out that in Facebook, they do have tracking tools in Events Manager where you can track certain website events. Example, if you have a form on your website that once it gets submitted, you get rerouted to a thank you page, you can track how many people from your Facebook ads hit that thank you page URL, basically. So you'll be able to see in your ads, this many people from my ads who are tagged coming from my ads hit this thank you page and made it to my thank you pages. I do recommend, just on the topic of that any form you have on your website, we do see a lot of people that when they set up forms, they will just have like an automatic pop-up after they submit it that just says like, thank you for submitting. We recommend that you just set up a basic thank you page that gets redirected from those forms, because then you can track how many people hit that thank you page URL, because most of those forms that have those automatic pop-ups, you are not trackable.
So
can I ask, do you have to have a privacy policy for that? When they
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a so you'll set up like an introduction to your form, like this is sign up for a free trial, and ask their information. They submit they see a privacy policy page, and they hit next, and they get to the confirmation.
So it should be included in the form.
In the form. As you go through the setup of that, because once you get to that stage, there's a part to set it up. It's a step-by-step guide of how to do that. Like you walk through each one.
Okay.
But yeah, the privacy policy is needed on the form. And that's just, it needs to basically, it's whatever privacy policy you have in your site, you can use the same one. Just you aren't going to share their phone number with any other company kind of thing. With the events, when you're setting up your business portfolio, your manager and everything for Facebook for the first time, you're prompted to create a data set or your pixel. This needs to be installed in the back end of your site itself. If you have a web developer, they should know what to do with installing those codes into your site. Once that's installed, you can come into this view here, your events manager in Facebook, and I go to settings, and then there's a event setup tool. So each link that you have or button, you're able to track and give it a particular event title. So if you have a contact form, you could put that as a lead, is what I'd recommend. And so anytime someone submits that, or the thank you page, they land on the thank you page that Natalie was talking about, that triggers a lead. And so when you're sending an ad to your website in the event it's optimized for, which is, you choose that here. So maximum number of conversions, the website event I'm optimizing for is leads. Let's say it's a thank you or a form for a free trial.
Essentially what you want your ad to push.
Whatever you want your ad to be done, that's what's optimized for. It will pull that in the report when you're looking at how the performance of your ad is done. But if you don't have tracking on your site, that's the other reason I would say you need to do a lead form itself, because you don't need a pixel to run it as a instant form.
Oh, honey. You good?
Was there another question?
Yes, there's a couple other questions here.
Okay.
Wanted to know what if you recommend an account management program that works the best with Meta, like Dancework, Jackrabbit, or anything like that.
We work with all of them.
Hi, buddy.
That mostly, like, so what are you hoping it would work with, like, from Facebook into like, let's say you have Jackrabbit. What are you wanting it to take the leads and put them in Jackrabbit, or?
Catherine, are you here? You asked that question there.
I think in terms of, I'll wait for her to, I think in terms of general, our clients typically use usually, I would say majority Jackrabbit or iClass Pro. Ashley, correct me if I'm wrong. But
so there's, well, I mean, the iClass Pro or Jackrabbit are the main ones. There's a new one called Full Out now. That's a new class management system that people are using. Yeah, but Jessica can talk more about any kind of integrations.
I will say that, sorry, Jess, I just want to add one thing about Jackrabbit really quick, is that I do know that in terms of like redirect URLs for thank you pages that work with Jackrabbit, they're typically one of the only platforms that we've seen. I believe iClass is working on adding those, but will allow you to actually redirect some of your like registration pages and all that stuff to custom thank you pages so that they are trackable with like your ads and everything. So I know Jackrabbit already does that. I'd have to confirm for iClass. I know that they didn't previously, but they are a really great platform for setting up like thank you page redirects and just a little bit more enhanced tracking, especially if you're running like paid ads like this, where you definitely want to know where your numbers are coming from. But again, I'd have to check on iClass Pro. I could look into that and send that to you, Catherine.
If it's more of you want to just send people from the ad directly to whatever CRM you use, so like Jackrabbit, for example, I like to try and explain to clients when that does come up, you have to think of it from the parent's perspective as well. Like, it might seem extremely easy for you to navigate, but from a parent who may not have ever stepped on that software before, they might take one look at that and run the other way. So you need to make like wherever destination you're sending them as user friendly as possible, like you're talking to a 3-year-old, honestly. Make it super simple where they don't have to navigate. So I don't typically recommend sending to any type of Jackrabbit or iClass Pro like direct registration link. If that was what the question was.
Yeah, I guess we should clarify if that was the question.
Yeah.
Really quickly, I'm just going to cover the Google tips really quick, and then any questions that we have, like last 1 to 2 minutes, we can go through those. Again, this is just like a tiny taste of the Facebook, but I'm glad everyone is engaging and loving the Facebook stuff, because Jess is awesome and she'll answer all your questions. But in the presentation, all of that juicy good info from Jess is in there on setups and copy and creative. So again, you'll get a link to that. Let me just walk through this Google portion really quick. So I want to make sure that we hit on this, and then we can go ahead and get to any more questions. But really quickly for Google, we're going to kind of go through just some basic setup tips for anyone who has not run Google Ads yet, or even if you are running and you want to get just a few more setup or like optimization ideas. So just a reminder that Google works best also with Facebook. It's kind of not one or the other. Like Google's going to be your high intent and just grabbing and showing up at the top of the page for those parents who are ready to enroll. And then Facebook is going to be another great tool for brand awareness, but also getting those leads in. So making sure you're using kind of both of them, not just I'm using Google, so I'm not going to use Facebook and vice versa. They do kind of two separate things. So typically we recommend, just as a starting budget, $10 to $15 a day. You can even start anywhere between 7 to 10 and then just kind of get a pulse for how much traffic or calls that you're getting in, and go from there. Same exact thing as Facebook. Google will also have a way to set up tracking on your website. So you will be able to say, track this thank you page, track this page here, how many people hit this page. So you will be able to see your direct effect from Google Ads on there. So here, I'm just going to kind of go through the basics, but it will allow you to set a target radius. Facebook does this as well, where you can target a direct radius around your gym address, basically making sure that your ad spend is going to be targeting people who are most likely to convert and are closest. But again, some gyms have a little bit larger of a little bit more rural, like they have a larger radius that target people drive a little bit further to go to their gym. You'll be able to have the opportunity to adjust that, but that target radius is awesome. So just make sure that you are targeting just your radius, and default it sets to the entire United States. So I just want to make sure you narrow that down. And then again, it'll allow you to set up conversion tracking. You will see the exact events that people are taking from your ads. It's not going to be a guessing game. You'll be able to see, how many conversions you get from that. And then here, I'm just going to kind of show you some examples of the ads. Here it's talking about the keywords. So this is another big question that we get when it comes to Google setup is Google is based off of keywords. So for example, if you want to target the keyword, and basically anytime any parent in the Google search bar types in gymnastics near me, if you want to show up for that keyword, that's one of the keywords that you would target. But a lot of people ask, how do I even find, what keywords or what search terms people are looking up? So Google does have a tool for this where you can narrow it down by your city. It's in their planning section, and you can say in city name, you can throw in the topic gymnastics. What are the most popular search terms that people are searching that have to do with gymnastics or tumbling, ninja, any of those, and Google will actually populate that list for you, which is super helpful. Just to note on this, sometimes you do want to expand those and target things like indoor activities for kids near me, things to do with kids in city name. Those have been some other really good searches, especially if you're already running Google, to test adding those in, because sometimes we see that those do get a decent amount of conversions aside from, and kind of expand your reach a bit, besides just targeting people searching directly for that program. And then again, this will walk you through. We may not have time to cover this entire thing, but this guide does walk you through exactly how to create your ads. And this goes from exactly to headlines, like what the rules are about the headlines, some examples of exactly what type of headlines we recommend to use that we have just data on of what convert the best, have the highest, click rate, and get the most conversions from what we run. So this does have a ton of examples in here, how to set up your descriptions. So yeah, in the guide, you will get all of that information, which is super helpful. We've included even just some people ask, like, what do these even look like? Where do they show up? So you'll see here on the right-hand side, this is exactly what those ads look like. So, and these will show up above the organic search results. So even if you are the only, gym in your area, we still recommend doing Google Ads to keep that top of page search results there, because now they've kind of added in where maps is also showing up at the top, kind of going off based off of reviews, and this is just going to make sure your place is number one at the top of that page. So just to circle back on why the Amplify method works, and just kind of a recap, be seen everywhere and just make it easy for parents to connect with you, and offer multiple options. But yeah, I hope that was helpful to kind of go through the bulk of like Facebook and Google, and kind of what entails for all of those there. Again, you will get the recording on this as well, and we might have to do our next webinar on going through actually the ins and outs of Facebook and Instagram, Jess, because I know we got a lot of questions.